All right, folks. Well, I think the cameras are up and rolling. I think the microphone's got its thing going. I think it's Friday, and I say it is party time. Hello, and welcome to Friday Fun Day Live. I'm super excited to see all of you out there. I am in California broadcasting onto Facebook and YouTube. We're still working with that, so I'm making sure we have a good feed and everything's running smoothly, so I'm going as slow as possible at the beginning. If you're brand new, my name is Rob Appell. I am a quilt maker on a quest to find the ultimate flannel shirts, folks. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but this one just came in the mail, like literally just delivered a few minutes ago. But it matches the quilt on the wall, I think. So let me do this here. We're going to go side camera. My camera angles are very similar today, but I feel like I've really dressed for the quilt behind me today. So anyways, I won't wear it much longer because it is quite warm in here, but I just thought this is an incredible, look at the yarns in this thing. It's like crazy, like greens and pinks and purples and yellows on black, and oh my goodness, it's really cool. So yeah, you know me, I'm a bit or maybe a lot OCD, and my new obsession right now is, and Aunt Sherry, this is your fault. You started it because of the wonderful Blake Shelton flannel shirt I received for Christmas this year. It was and it is absolutely incredible. But I had a couple of other flannels that were high quality, and I decided to be on the quest now for a very nice collection of quality flannel shirts. So, folks, maybe through the next few weeks, I'll be showing off some more of my flannel collection. I think this will be fun. Let me set this aside and get back to business here. This is super exciting. I can see that the live stream is working on both connections. This seems to be bothering me at the moment, but it's really an important piece of information we'll talk about if I don't forget in a little bit. We've got a really busy show today, folks. I'm super excited. It is the end of a very busy week for me, and I'm just going to be straight. It's been a bit of a roller coaster of mental health for me this week. I want to talk about that more, but let's go ahead and welcome all of our guests. So, yeah, we did it. 73,000 subscribers plus, moving every day up, up, up. I love that. So, folks on Facebook, I'm talking about out on YouTube. We have a wonderful Stitchin Heaven YouTube channel where we do the live shows, we do live sew-alongs, we do pre-recorded content, tutorials, tips and tricks, block of the month videos, all kinds of wonderful stuff. So please join us over there. If you're not subscribed, do so now. And then also we have for you here on Facebook the So Well Rob Appell group, which has recently been commandeered by the Scrap Masters, which is just fine with me. We're having a blast with all of that. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'll talk more about Scrap Masters in a bit. We have a link in the description for all of the things I discuss, including the free pattern for our Scrap Masters random block generator, which is really just a community quilting event where we're all sewing along week by week, making cool blocks. So anyways, that's all available for you all out there as well. Press the wrong button and now the screen is loaded with junk, but that's kind of good. We're doing our own production here. I think this is pretty great. Oh, good. I see ACJ is out there today. And hey, now, Billy, in case you're wondering, I am a large in a flannel shirt. Although I wasn't necessarily putting out a request for all of you to help me find the most incredible flannel shirts. However, I've got an idea now, Billy, and this is a good idea. We should first show you all the flannel shirts I have and then help me add to the collection. So this is going to be fun. You're right. Okay, I see lots of folks out there. This is great. Really excited to have both chatting along on the Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you're in the comments. Make sure you're having fun with everybody. As we go through, and I'm going to dive into a bit of the announcements. And like I said, so Monday I was traveling. Well, Sunday I traveled back from Texas. I was out there for an extended week, a little bit like 10 days or so. Lots of work, lots of production, lots of creative stuff, and it was just wonderful. I am super excited about that. Flew home on Sunday. Easy, smooth. My lovely wife picked me up at the airport. We had a lunch date. Came home, watched a little TV on the couch, I think. Kids came home, we had a nice dinner, but by the end of the night, I wasn't feeling real well. So I ended up, whether it was a stomach flu, food poisoning, something, all night Sunday, Monday, missed my Monday creative meeting. Don't think I ever got out of bed till about 3 p.m. was my first cup of coffee. And so basically, my week started on Tuesday, and it started with this. Folks, that's gold on the floor right there. If you don't recognize those little bad boys are eggs all over my floor on the way back from trying to get my breakfast ready. My son, while I was gone, made us this really cool. If you hadn't heard, remember, Santa Claus brought a 3D printer. So every contraption necessary, including a rolling egg device, has been created with a 3D printer or is on the list to be created. If you have suggestions, drop those in the comments below of what you would make if you had a 3D printer. I do not suggest an egg roller, and we'll leave it at that. But that was Tuesday morning, and so I got into a place where I just needed to make some stuff, make some quilting. And so, yes, Scrap Masters is not only for me a fun thing to make for all of y'alls and alls out there having a good time sewing with the community here, but for me, it is also one of my escape pods. It's a place where quilting is one of my happy places. It's a place when I go and I'm not feeling 100%. So by the time I wasn't feeling 100%, I got out my 17 fabrics for last week's block, and or I should have, yeah, last week's block. We do it on Friday. And by the end of a bunch of pieces, I came up with this one, and this was one of my favorites I've created. It's really cool. Look at it over here on the design wall as I have. Now we have 10 blocks up. We'll do number 11 this week, so that's awesome. And let me talk about Scrap Masters for those who might be just tuning in for the first time. Scrap Masters is like I said, a free pattern. You can download that. It's in the description on YouTube and on the Facebook group. It's right there in the files. And I use some dice and the color wheel, the spinning color wheel here to select which pattern and which color and how many fabrics we'll use each week. And this is my example of what I've been coming up with, and it's almost time to create a new video to talk about what we should do next. I am learning so much as I go along and as I do this. It has just been so much fun, little pun intended. But I'm actually learning, let me pull the block here, that I really like the blocks, and I built the pattern so you could do them as larger squares or as the smaller squares, more and more scrappy, hoping for larger numbers on that second roll. And I've seen several blocks, and yeah, I'm finding that the more little fabrics in the scrappy and the more you can play with the color this way, it has just been really fun, and I'm having a great time with those, and all of you out there doing that. So really excited about that. By the end of that evening, we had found out there's my lovely wife. If you look in the back seat, there's my lovely daughter. Oh, look at that. There's another flannel shirt. We are actually driving back from In-N-Out Burger, where we went to celebrate. Ruby passed her cosmetology certification test. So she graduated a few weeks ago, if you remember. I had photos on the live for that. But then she still had to get her certification test here in California. So she went, and she didn't tell us when it was. So she surprised us that she went and took her test, and she passed with flying colors. And so we've been celebrating. That's really exciting. And so now she's on to the next phase. She has a salon she's going to be working at as well. So I'm really proud of my daughter, our daughter, as she continues to make her journey through life and pursuing her goals that way. She's crushing it with her nails. I apologize for not having more photos of what she did this week, but it was a great day to go from the egg roll through the fabric scraps out to In-N-Out to celebrate such an accomplishment of our daughter. On this channel, we have all kinds of fantastic tutorials. So a few weeks ago, we did the glowing checkered star, which was a live sew along, and then a recorded tutorial also. Really cool. I believe we have just a couple of kits left. In the kits, there might be one of the 5 golden tickets. The 5 golden tickets are free registration to the glowing checkered star retreat, and that is myself as the teacher in Quitman, Texas, August 6th through 10th. More information, stitchinheaven.com. Please read and check all about it. You can see there's an awesome quilt kit, like I said, available. And we built a limited quantity, 50 quilt kits. We put 5 golden tickets in those 50 quilt kits, and we've distributed them out there Willy Wonka style. And we're having a really exciting watching everybody get pumped up for the big retreat coming up in August. Also, and I'm realizing that I maybe forget to put up, oh, no, there it is. I want to let you know, as far as the tutorials go, this was on the design wall just a few days back. It seems like it was 2 weeks ago, but this is now available coming up. This was Wednesday's tutorial. This is the Wonky Log Cabin 2.0. So this is a workshop I've been teaching a lot at local quilt guilds. And so yes, the video that is now available will take you from the smallest little bits all the way to how to get your blocks of unequal size together to make yourself a really cool log cabin quilt. A lot of the conversation I talk about putting the blocks together will really help you t-shirt quilters out there that are struggling with mismatched block sizes and how to get them together. And so at any rate, I had some really new cool tricks and some tips in teaching in public about how I prepare the slices and all of that. So check out that video. That's on YouTube right now, and it's a start to finish video. I'm really excited about that. And yes, I will be hitting the road to be teaching some Wonky Log Cabin real soon. So it'll be fun to go out and share that one in person. Also, next week, we shot a really cool video for you that are just learning to quilt, improve your rotary cutting skills. Sorry, I'm looking at some of the comments. I'm just going to keep moving on. I get so easily distracted. Yeah, rotary cutting skills, that'll be coming up next week. And then the following, this is the quilt I just worked on this week. I have done one more video on how to do the tricks for machine binding your quilt. And yeah, folks, let me show you this real quick. I'm kind of jumping ahead in my show and tell. But the Epic Quilt, if you haven't been following along, we do a ton of block of the months at Stitchin Heaven. So Epic is a block of the month that was designed by Charisma Horton and uses my new and newer world's fabrics. These are fabrics by Benartex. So it is a block of the month that started for us in January, and we have a tutorial each and every month that's posting on YouTube. But I needed to do all of the videos in advance, and so look at the cool the wide back. I don't know if you've all seen all my wide backs. That's one of the two cool colors of the wide backs. But I also switched so you can see that I've done the machine binding here. Zoom in a little bit. Machine binding, mitered corners and everything on the front and on the back. So that's what that video is all about. Really cool info. But one of the things that I really wanted to share, this thing's 96 by 96, it's giant, so I got to move that over there, was I love using a empty spool of thread that is just the size of my binding basically, and my vertical spool stand to help me manage my binding. So I talk a lot about that in that video coming up, and I think you're going to really dig it. So at any rate, I'm excited about that, and pretty pumped up. And I'm obviously in teaching mode and quilting mode. Coming up June 8th through 13th, the boys are back in Shipshewana. We're coming out to teach some patriotic quilts there, some quilts that would be wonderful to dress veterans with. And we're calling it the Socation. I still have my old slide where I call them Land Ahoys, but check out stitchinheaven.com for a bunch of our cool travel stuff, including the $500 shopping spree offer on our Friends at Sea quilting cruise. That is going to be an awesome trip with Tiffany Hayes and Heidi Pridemore. They'll be traveling to several cool destinations in the Eastern Caribbean where I just was at myself, and it was gorgeous. And if you can't make that trip with us, do check out stitchinheaven.com and the cruises page, and you can see there's all kinds of fantastic cruises also coming up, which is just super, super exciting because one of the things we set out a long time ago to do was try to make a premium quilting experience or a premier quilting experience for all you out there. And whether that's through the way that we do our kits and our block of the months or the way that we do our travel. When I was in Texas last week, we had a bus come to visit, and it's so great. Everyone comes and we do lunch, and we do a shopping spree, and we do demonstrations, and then we do left, right, center, a card game, and all of the different things. So it's just really fun. It's all about community for us, and community is about experiences, and quilting for so many of us is all about therapy. And as I get into my grateful list today, a lot of it is going to be therapy based. I started talking at the beginning of the show that it was a rough mental health week for me. Maybe some of you have been that way, but fortunately, I remembered to turn to some of my quilting, and the quilting is one of those things that just makes me feel much better. So as I dive into the grateful list, feel free to be grateful along with me. And yeah, I know I did it last week as well, but the live quilt along makes the grateful list for 2 weeks in a row. Like I said, it was the glowing checkered star, but what's so fun now is to see folks, and Nancy, I'm not sorry, I left your name on the screen here. Watching today with us, folks, Nancy Gilbert, she has turned in a really fun modified block of the glowing checkered star for her Patriots. Super cool. And talk about glowing checkered star. Look at the wonderful color combinations in this quilt. So again, these were photos that were left out there on social media, folks, and I grabbed them, and they look fantastic, and I'm having a blast looking at it. And talking about the grateful list as I come back around here, item number 2 on the grateful list, I thought would be kind of funny to be put up there, which is home alone. So yeah, funny enough, the wife has gone to visit a friend that she hangs out with, and this is their annual girls trip. And then my son and his fiance are off to Los Angeles for a wedding shower for them. Boy, they have like a wedding shower every weekend right now, man. That's crazy. And then so at any rate, I'm really excited because I get the place to myself, which actually means that I have a ton of home improvement projects. I want to just make a big old mess for a while. I've got a ton of yard work I'm looking forward to doing. I've got just a bunch of those things that need tidied up. I love traveling, but when I'm gone, I let those things kind of mount up or pile up in the background that need to be cared for. So I'm really looking forward to just being able to go all this weekend and get some of those honeydews done while I have the home to myself. And as I was speaking of, the other thing that if I do finish up quickly is going to be some more of my quilt therapy. So while I was in town last week, and I showed you all on Friday, we did the first run of our Boneyard bundles. So on this, Tiffany Hayes and myself went out into our stash, what we call the Boneyard, and made these beautiful bundles of fabric. This is what I think we're going to call Rob's Rainbow. And look, let me go here. This is what I'm holding right now. This is the bundle currently. But I have to say, because they're limited quantities, not every bundle will have the exact same fabrics in them. They'll be colorized so that they're beautiful and they match and they work with all of the things that I love to build, right? Makes sense. But they won't necessarily always have exactly the fabrics you see. So please don't call customer service and say, hey, I saw Rob holding that bundle and there happened to be maybe 3 Tula Pink basics showing in there, because there might be at this moment. But remember, folks, Tula goes fast. And so my goal is to keep solids and textures, like I keep teaching on how to use, right? And to keep beautiful rainbows of colors so that you can really work through lots of different patterns for them. But the other idea behind this is if you're doing scrap masters, if you're doing wonky log cabins, if you're just building your stash, these are beautiful. So we're going to have them available in half yards and in quarter yards. So you pick, we cut to order what sizes you want, half yards or quarter yards, and we'll ship them out within just a few days because we have it all set up that way. And then Tiffany's picked a beautiful round of batiks, which you probably saw at the beginning of today's video, which are just awesome. And so yes, they will be. I apologize, I didn't get the link up. We're still building, folks. We're going as quick as we could. We just got the photo taken this morning and stuff. So at any rate, we're working on that. But that's been part of my quilt therapy, the enthusiasm and excitement about working with color and also working with and building this fun stuff for our community. Now, I also mentioned, and I want to show you this. I'm going to go to the overhead camera and zoom out a little. So I also want to mention, like I was saying, so my son is getting married well, here it is. He's getting married June 28th. So a lot of folks come to my quilting retreats and have been coming for years, and they know Braden and Catherine well. And so I asked at the last quilting retreat if folks would start making blocks of certain colors and themes and submit them, and with a fun little message to the kids. Kids are getting married, right? So this is basically going to be a memory quilt, folks. Look at this one. Incredible, right? So really cool. And I just put out my call to action from my quilters out there. And so I've gotten a couple more in the mail here. And so the other thing I'm going to start doing that I'm so excited about is it is time to build the memory quilt for the kids. So this is going to be not only an incredible quilt and something I'm really, really blessed to get to handle, but this is going to be a really good lesson for us all on how to deal with some of these kinds of projects. Maybe you've been at a wedding and you've volunteered, or a baby shower, or sometimes we do memorial quilts this way as well. And so at any rate, I just really excited to have these beautiful blocks to work with. and I've saved a few that I haven't even opened yet. So this is really fun. So that's part of my home alone and my quilting therapy coming up this weekend, and some of the tutorial ideas that are swimming around in my head. As I shared with you some of the things we've been working on in the last couple of weeks. And again, this how to make a memory quilt, how to match your blocks, what to do next, how to size them, all of that kind of stuff is going to be something that I think you'll all find really important. If there's other things you want to learn about quilting, please feel free to drop that in the comments below. You might find it's easier to do it in the recorded or on the Facebook version because those comments are easier to see after the show. And or my email is rob@stitchinheaven.com. So I love emails. You're always welcome to send me an email with your quilting request. So if you have things you need to learn, I will get back to you eventually. Eventually, and sometimes I'll even turn your request into an entire tutorial or something, as we did with the glowing checkered star recently. So that's really exciting. So back to, if you believe it or not, we're in the middle of the grateful list right now, folks. And we were talking about that quilting therapy. And I want to finish today, because it's called So Well with Rob Appell, on a wellness conversation a little bit, because of talking about struggling with the mental health is for me, because I was traveling so much, once again, I got off of my physical fitness routine. And I know a lot of us as quilters get really excited about spending a lot of time in our sewing spaces, especially when we have new fabrics to play with or new design ideas and things. Or we just get busy at different times in our lives. But so, folks, I found myself dehydrated and I want to say inflexible, meaning that I hadn't been doing my stretching. And so I talk about yoga. I talk about a lot of different things about physical fitness. And we're all at different fitness levels in our lives. We're all at different ages in our lives. But I'm going to encourage us all to make sure we're drinking a good amount of water every day. And I'm going to encourage us all to make sure we're taking a little walk, even if it's just around the block. You know, me, I've got my little old Chihuahua, and getting him out for his walks is so very important. You know, sometimes I do a big walk, sometimes I go surfing or do all my different things. And when I say yoga, just touching your toes a few times or trying to, getting some stretching in, but not letting ourselves become either so excited or overwhelmed internally that we forget to take of our external, because this is all we get, folks, one time through, and we want to make sure we can make lots of quilts. So off of the soapbox today, but I'm really excited to be as grateful as I am, especially on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Now, I believe as I go through my to-do list, it is time for our wonderful scrap masters, and I'll just continue the show and tell with, again, my block from the wall. So last week it was block 5, and we had orange as our fabric choice, or our colors as just our theme colors. And we had 17 fabrics to work with. There were some beautiful photos. Thank you again, folks, for posting these on the So Well Facebook group. Really excited to see all of the different fun color combinations. Again, you can see how some of the scrappiness has really worked for some folks coming together this way, and the different construction methods. You can see this one here, lots and lots of different pieces involved. This one, my good friend here has gone ahead and laminated as recommended now on her pattern sheet so that she can draw in with erasable markers what numbers of fabric she'll be using and whatnot. You are not limited to just making one block, so make as many as you would like to make. And folks, I shouldn't pick favorites, but I do every week. And I wanted to say this was my favorite because this one is gorgeous and it's so rich in its tones. This is what, you know, this is going to be, if every block turned out like this, it would be a really deep, rich, fantastic, scrappy, interesting quilt. However, this is my favorite of the week, and the reason is this caught my eye because of the 4 different colorways. I thought it was so well done, and I love the colors. It was funny. I looked at it over and over again. I didn't even realize that this quilter had used some of my fabric designs. The blue and some of the dark purples in there are some of my fabrics, and I didn't even recognize them. I was so drawn by the color, and I think that's neat. So I apologize. You would think that I was being affected by it because of the fabric choices, but no, it was definitely the color play. That one really spoke to me. Folks, I'm keeping track. I'm putting them out on So Well Facebook page. So again, there's the running total. I'll try to put up after block 11 today, and that means it is now time for the big Scrap Masters roll and spin of the week. So let's get ourselves ready. I've decided, for the safety of everybody at home and the die, we're going to now use a box to keep things there. And I think that's going to work good. We'll bring in the official spinning wheel, make sure that it's nice and ready to rock and roll. It was sweet. We had a customer, excuse me, a quilter recently say that they had missed the instructions for the yellow. We've all missed the instructions for the yellow. We haven't gotten there, apparently. This thing doesn't want to stop on yellow for whatever reason. So maybe today we will get yellow in our situation. Oh, where's my pattern pieces? Here they are. I keep them close and handy. And here we go. So again, folks, if you have just tuned into today's video, please feel free to follow many of the links. Download the Scrap Masters free random scrap block generator pattern. There are a few instructions on how to use the different units as you go through. And then those different units make the different 6 blocks that we have. And we're going to roll here in a second to choose which block we're on for the week. So let's do that now while we've got the overhead ready to rock and roll. Okay, so let's zoom in if we can, make this really exciting. Scrap Masters official roll. Here we go. Brrr, drum roll it is. I appreciate that, Tiffany. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. We have a 6, block 6 Scrap Masters. Ooh, this is a good one. We don't get to do block 6 very often, folks. So I'm going to drop block 6 right there. Okay, block 6 it is. Okay, now for the color. Come on, yellow. Lucky color yellow. That's what we've been asking for. Giving it our best. Come on. Oh, I thought it was going to stop. Oh, it lands on a line. And if it lands on a line, the rules are, if it lands on a line, then I get to pick. So here you go. The request last week was yellow. And so I'm going to go at least yellow-orange. There. Oh, they might have shifted it a couple of lines, but you've requested it. I hear you. So we're moving it over there. Okay, yellow-orange and block 6. And now we're going to figure out how many fabrics we're doing. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, that is awesome, folks. 14 different fabrics. Remember, the more fabrics, the more scrappy the pieces and parts can be. So this is going to be awesome. I don't know that we have. Here we do. I've got one from before. So there's our block 6 sample. And yes, the corners are all different in this block. Partly it was a copy paste issue on my part. Partly it was a design issue I was going for. So yeah, really fun. This is a great block. Enjoy it using 14 fabrics and in the yellow-orange family. Amazing how that worked out this week, isn't it, folks? We're going to need that, I think, up on the wall anyways as we continue to play through. Okay, so now let me take a few moments as we're wrapping up the video. I want to go back through all the comments and questions and make sure if I haven't missed anything. A lot of times there's so much information, you're all enjoying yourselves. If there's a question that's important to you that I answer live on today's feed, will you just type it again now so that it ends up at the bottom? So I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to look at everybody's comments real quick. Make sure I'm not missing any questions. I love that you all interact with each other. Yeah, those yolks were definitely farm fresh, Raven. Those, like I said, that was gold on the floor. And when I showed my wife the photo when she got home from work, she was not pleased, and we no longer have the egg roller in the refrigerator. And then just saying. Oh, I'm glad that everyone likes the flannel shirt out there. Yeah, I think, that's going to be the good look for me. Really excited to see the folks out there on Facebook. Yeah, we love Nancy Gilbert. She did a great job on that block, didn't she, folks? Or those blocks? That was fun. I apologize again that the we're calling them boneyard bundles. So technically there's going to be 4 options. There's Rob's Rainbow and Tiffany's Tropicals, and you order them as half yard cuts or quarter yard cuts. and you're going to get 20 fabrics, 20 different fabrics that have been color coordinated and custom curated by Tiffany and I when I was in Texas last week. And so every time I go to Texas, I'm going to build us a new color bundle, hopefully, as long as you all keep enjoying these, if you know what I'm saying. So as soon as we have the SKU, probably Monday or Tuesday, I'll put a link in the Facebook group so that you all have early access for being a fan and a follower. How's that sound? Yeah, those are awesome. I'm really excited about those. Oh, okay. Here's a good question. Will I ever do a tutorial on my Shark rotary cutter? You know, probably not here anymore, folks. I did a long time ago when I was back at Man Sewing. I invented a very small 14 millimeter rotary cutter. But this isn't actually a product that Deb chooses to support at Stitchin Heaven because it was something that I did when I was at Man Sewing, and I completely understand. So there were videos that have been done in the past that you can watch on how to use the Shark rotary cutter. However, I say that, and I really want to do more and more applique. I believe I get to start on the Dog Park Block of the Month by McKenna Ryan coming up really soon, but that one's pre-fused and pre-cut for us as Block of the Month members. So I wouldn't need the Shark Cutter for that. I use it constantly, and even in a lot of the videos I've done here at Stitchin Heaven, I'm showing it, but I don't promote it a lot, Nancy, because I just don't have a great way to promote it and make access to all of you. But it's still a great little tool, and I love it, and I'm very proud that I made it out there. Um, All right, congratulations to Cindy. She said she just retired, which actually probably means that Cindy was caught watching the live show in the middle of her work afternoon, and she's still watching it on her cell phone as she carries her box with her stapler and her candle and the family photo and the quilt cozy mug and stuff out the door right now. So she's retiring permanently, and congratulations to that, Cindy. Plenty more time for you to be quilting along with us. So glad you're here. You know me, just being silly. Awesome. Okay. Well, I believe I'm going to be wrapping it up. Coretta, it looks like your first time watching. You wanted to find out how to rewatch or to get caught up. Really easiest way is probably the replay on YouTube. This is why we have used YouTube as a platform for so long, but I love being able to reach the community on Facebook as well. So at any rate, yeah, replays are probably best served on YouTube, and the comments there are the ones that we can go back and really watch and help get feedback from. Excuse me, I feel like I'm about to cough. Don't want to do that in the microphone. And I am pretty excited about these new microphones as well. Really small, really lightweight, doesn't get caught on anything. I'm hoping it sounds as good at home as it does in the studio. And you're welcome, Tara, for all of the things that I do. It is absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for noticing that I get to do a lot of wonderful things. But if it wasn't for you all out there, I wouldn't get to do any of this. So thank you all for the support and the love and the kindness for the community here at Stitchin Heaven. Thank you for supporting the quilters in your neighborhood. Make sure that you're all looking for somebody that you can physically quilt with and sew with, somebody that you can meet with on the monthly. Even my friend Ed was telling me, I talk about my friend Ed all the time. He is, I'm a little jealous. He didn't want to, I shouldn't say jealous, I'm a little disappointed. He didn't want to use my name for his new club, but he's a fly fisherman. And he was telling me recently that he's got a group of friends that are gathering now just to get together and talk about fishing and make flies and eat pizza. And, anytime we can do anything as a community, those friendships are so important and so strong and so dear to us. So make sure you cherish those friendships you build out there, folks. And until I see you all next week, please stay well.